Hi, today I'm joined with Mads Singers, and today's topic is how to effectively delegate work to your staff.
Yep. And delegation is one of the biggest headaches for most entrepreneurs and managers. What are the core steps? When it comes to delegation, the first thing to understand is you always want to delegate responsibility instead of tasks. So, unfortunately, a lot of online gurus sit out there and say, figure out how to do things, put it into a process, and then give it to your staff. And then figure out how to do the next thing, put it in a process, give it to your staff. Now, I can promise you, the CEO of IBM is not sitting figuring out what 200,000 people have to do. It ain't happening, right? If you want to grow slow, if you want to hinder your growth of the company and your staff, that's a great way of growing. However, if, like James and me, you like growing fast and building great businesses, that is not the way to go. So, how do you delegate responsibility? And why do you do it? So, number one is very simple. You only have 24 hours a day, and you can only ever do so much. A company is like a pyramid, right? You want to consistently increase the value of each stone in that pyramid, and the way you do that is take stuff from you and push it down to a level below you. And then you take more valuable stuff and start doing it, right? When you look at many corporate companies, people are so afraid of losing their job that they're afraid of someone knowing everything they do. But here's what happens. When no one else can do your job, you will never get promoted. Because guess what? If someone takes you out of the team and promotes you, your team will collapse. If you're in that situation, you're holding yourself back, right? So delegation fundamentally is about giving areas of responsibility. So if we look at it from an SEO standpoint, this could be splitting down SEO and breaking down on-site, off-site, and technical. Fundamentally, what you want to do in any business is you want to have your process, the thing that you do repeatedly over and over again, and you want to break that down. Most people come to me and say they want to duplicate themselves. I'm like, don't do that. Figure out the process you're doing, break it into pieces, and develop experts at each piece of that process, right? It is way faster, it is way cheaper, and you get way higher output results at the end. That is how you want to do it. So when you're delegating responsibility, if I say, hey, James, I am super busy. I don't have the time to look at how we can buy links or build links. I want you to be responsible for our off page because I've seen your ability to build links is great. Here's what we need to do. We need to build 20 links per site per month. Here's the sites we have. Here's the goal, right? So you give a specific ownership, a specific area of ownership. You give a specific goal. And sometimes there's a quality metric around it as well, right? So X amount of links that fits this criteria, etc. And then you hand that responsibility over. Now, if you know how to do it, can you show the person? For sure. Should you do it? Sure. In the early days, you can record a Loom video, or you can jump on a call and you can show them how to do something. But your goal is for them to own the process. Your goal is not for you to sit and look at every step of the way. What are they doing? How are they doing it? You need to give them the ownership. You need to tell them what the output you're looking for is. And then you need to let them go away and deliver. And when you have a goal like that, you can put it in your KPIs and you can say, okay, James have a responsibility for this KPI that says build X amount of links per month within X quality metric. And then you can literally every week or however often your KPI is updated, you can then look at your dashboard and say, is James on target? Yes, no. When you have your weekly one-to-one with him, you can then say, James, we're below target. What are you doing to fix it? Not, oh, we're not building enough links. Let me go and figure out what we should do. No, you give someone the responsibility and you let them figure it out. You give them the ownership and responsibility and say, James, you're not building the links you need to. I want you to go and figure it out. And here's the key thing. Every single one of you that's an entrepreneur or manager today, you're here for one reason and one reason only. At some point, someone trusted you. Someone either gave you the money, someone gave you an opportunity or some trust in a business, and they said, go and figure this stuff out. I don't know what to do. I don't have the time, but someone somewhere trusted you. You would not be where you are today if no one did that. Now, here's the kicker. You are not doing that for your team. You are not trusting your team. You are not letting them grow and develop and become awesome like you. So my question to you is, why are you holding your team back, and why do you not want your company to be full of great people? So that's the essence. Delegate the responsibility.
Yeah,
Now,
so I've got a question there for you. So you're saying how to effectively delegate to staff. At what point do you decide whether to delegate that to staff or whether to outsource it to a freelancer that's great at doing it? So like you says, oh, I'll come and get yourself, James, to go to Searcheroo and get some off page and some backlinks. And that's delegating the responsibility to a freelance kind of company as opposed to delegating it to in-house staff. Where do you decide on that? At what point do you say, I want this in-house versus I want to delegate it to a freelancer?
yeah, it often comes down to a few things. There's not really a right or wrong, right? But what I like to do is I like to identify um, areas of failure and complexity of the ownership. So, for example, if you take something like link building, you're really doing something a lot of other people are doing at a very similar level, right? So I would naturally be way more likely to find a company who can build links for me rather than something like content. Because if I'm building content for our own website, there's a lot of good content agencies out there, don't get me wrong, but most of them won't know our company like our company, right? So hiring an in-house content writer would be significantly more likely for me because they could get to know our business, really know our brand, really knows what we do, and because of that, write significantly better content. Whereas someone building links for us will not really build any better or worse links if they know our company or not, right? Like that's not a big contributor. So I typically look at those kind of impacts. I also look at, is it something we know in house? So as an example, let's say you take a brand like Ferrari. Now Ferrari might say, "Oh, we could outsource our customer service and save some money." I'm like, don't do that. If you're Ferrari, you want to own customer service 100% because your entire brand is about the customer experience. So you want to understand, and we do this whenever we set up a company or whenever we have a business, we identify what are the areas of the business that is critical to success that we absolutely want to own in-house. So for example, if you're owning an e-commerce business, like you probably don't want to do deliveries yourself because you don't want to run all over the country and in your own truck because it's more effective to get it done by other people. Now, do you want to do the packaging yourself? That depends. Can you do it significantly better than everyone else? Or is getting someone else doing it going to get a very similar result? Well, the thing is, the less you have to own, the more capacity you have. Because if you own everything in-house, there's so much to manage. So what you really want to do is identify what are the things that are critical for our business success. And for some companies, that might be link building. Maybe you have companies out there that are winning because they're great at link building. And if that's the case, keep it in-house, right? But it's about understanding what are the things that can be delegated and what are the things, not delegated, sorry, outsourced, and what are the things where you really want to be on top of it. So as an example, and here's the thing, there's many great PPC agencies out there, but PPC is one of the things where I know the most people who have ever been burned. People think SEO have a bad rep, but PPC agencies not delivering results is probably the most common complaint that I have from my clientele. Now, here's the thing, often it's not even their fault, right? Like if you have a shit brand, if you have some shit landing pages, obviously they should help you make them better. But again, it depends on what you start with, right? But reality is finding good PPC agencies is really, really difficult, right? I definitely suggest you try it out. There is good people out there, but most people that I've worked with and I know first succeed with pay-per-click when they bring it in-house. But it's expensive, right? Very often.
What's interesting is I absolutely completely agree with Facebook ads, PPC, and content writing. I will never outsource. And the reason why I will never outsource it, just personally from my own things, is people don't put the time and the effort in to understand everything about the brand. And with regards to PPC, there's changes needed to be made, not every day, but every hour. There's things going in, there's negative keywords needing to be loaded in, there's keywords that are not working, there's conversion rate optimization on the website. I need someone, if I'm going to run it, I need someone to run it efficiently and properly. And at that point, I need someone that I can like literally be checking on a day-to-day basis initially, and then obviously then head of like paid ads to be checking with the PPC person to make certain that everything is being ran and being split tested to death. I want every little tiny bit of the process. It's exactly the same with Facebook ads. I want to keep testing my hook, my first 3 seconds of the video. I want to make certain that that's getting the attention. I want to make certain that the offer's the right offer. But when you don't know what that is, when you're first running it, there could be 100 different A/B split tests needing to be done. I don't want to wait 4 months for that and then prolong it. I want to be doing it day to day, making certain that I'm testing it. I've got enough traffic and footfall coming through. The content like you're talking about with regards to the brand and stuff. There's nobody better that knows the business than you. Like, there's no one better that once you've trained them up and you've gone into detail, where these freelance content marketing agencies, they're writing for one topic, then another topic, then another topic. It's just very basic level, almost AI level content that there's no information gain, there's no going above and beyond of what's needing to be done. There's a lot of the time they miss the tonality, even though you give them the tonality. There's just so many little nuances from that. And I suppose that's where delegation is key to make certain that you're passing it down to the staff, and it's also key in knowing when to outsource to freelancers versus when to keep that in house. I'd never heard that on the PPC side. It's very interesting you say that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the thing that got, when you have a small business, so let's say you have a small company, you don't know PPC yourself, going and spending 5-10 grand hiring a great PPC person can be very expensive and can be very risky at the early stage. So again, sometimes there is a benefit in really getting an agency in to help out, to at least do something initially to see if they can get traction and so on, right? Now, you're obviously at a different stage. You have run a lot of PPC, so you know what you're looking for. You know what success look like, right? But yeah, that I think generally that's in most companies you want to have PPC in house, just because at least if it's a certain sizable budget, right? Like if you're spending a couple of grand or something a month, it might not matter that much. But if you're going spending 20, 30, 50 grand a month, you probably want to own it in house, right?
Yeah, for sure. So anyone who's watching this, is there anything that myself or Mads has missed off with regards to delegation to your staff, or whether it's to look to freelance and use outsourcing businesses for specific growth? I'd love to know in the comment section. I appreciate having you on, Mads. Thank you very much.
Cheers again.